For the longest time, outside of my garage where my shop is, um, we've noticed a wasp nest, and I hate wasps with all my heart. They always harass us when we're eating dinner outside or whatever. Well, the nest was abandoned when I first noticed it, and I was just too busy doing stuff, so I just left it there. But eventually, the paper started wearing off the outside, or whatever you call their outer layer, and I thought, and you can see this honeycomb type stuff, although it's not like bees, it's not waxy, it's more of a paper mache consistency. And I thought, that's pretty sweet, these three layers that are all stuck together with, they build it around a branch. And if you know me, I thought there's just a matter of time before it's a bunch of resin, me and that wasp nest doing something. So here we are. This is my second project using the Total Boat Fathom thick set deep pour resin. The first one, this last one I did which was a cherry burl and clear resin, turned out really well. Just learning how to use this stuff. And this time my goal is to get it into a pressure pot and compare it to the previous project and see how it compared. And I was really, really happy with this one. You'll notice I had a little tenon left over from a different project, and I've learned that if you can stick it in the resin just barely, it'll bond it to the project perfectly, so you don't have to make a new one and save yourself all that hassle. So a couple of things I'm learning the hard way is, if you're doing big projects like this, you have to do deep, long setting resin, and Total Boat's new Fathom resin fits the bill fantastic. We're talking resins that take days to set up. It's important so that it doesn't hit a very high exothermic reaction. That heat that forms makes resin crack and bubble. It'll literally boil any moisture that might be in the wood, etc. So the longer it takes to set, the lower the heat. I've also learned that I've got to keep it at room temperature the whole time. It's something I've been struggling with. So you'll notice I showed a picture of my 5-gallon pressure pot inside my house. I was able to snake the hose under the garage door and worked like a charm. The noisy, what do you call that thing? Air compressor is out in the garage, pot's inside at the perfect temperature, everybody wins. And I have to say, of all my projects where I've done thick pours, I don't know how you measure the thickness in this, because side to side it's as big as one of those pots, so what's that, 10 inches across, and only paper between it. So I don't know if that's technically a 10-inch pour or what, but top to bottom, that's at least 6 inches deep. So this was a pretty good test where there wasn't a lot of wood breaking it up. It was big chunk of resin, and there was not a crack in it. There was one or two bubbles, but it was kind of stuff bubbles that had stuck up in the comb, which I don't know how you get it out of there, right? It's pretty tricky, but this turned out really cool. I feel like I've got a good system for things that'll fit in a pressure pot to get really clear resin outcomes, and it's all about having the right resin at the right temperature and having a pressure pot. A little tricky with this thick set stuff because it does take several days to thicken up, so you got to maintain the pressure for 3 days. I just keep mine hooked to my air compressor the whole time, so that it maintains the pressure I want, and I just have my valve set at right around 50 psi, and worked out great. The other thing that was really awesome about this Fathom Total Boat, which by the way sponsors me as far as providing resin to work with and show off, this stuff turned beautifully. You'll notice the silly string stuff all over the place. It comes off in nice fine threads, and didn't chip too much except when you're in a hurry. And I don't mind chipping away at it at the first stages just to move things along, but once you get down to the layer you want, it was beautiful. It came off really well. If anything, it was a little on the soft side, but I'm not sure if that's not a result of the Wasp Nest. that paper chemicals that could have come out of it. I mean, they just soaked right into it, so who knows. Obviously a very unusual project, but yeah, 2 huge thumbs up for Total Boat. They've nailed it with this epoxy. I realized about at this moment that I had taken my inspiration for the shape of this bowl from a red blood cell. Go back to my medical school days. So there you are. My thought initially with the shape of this was to display as much of the comb as I could. I didn't want to waste it. It's such a cool thing. I keep honeybees, and I'm going to have to steal some of their honeycomb to work with this in the future, but I find it absolutely fascinating how perfectly these are all shaped. These mindless little insects forming such an amazing thing. Anyway, I was excited to find this, excited to show it off, and the shape of this was designed to show off as much of that as possible, but still have it thin enough to be able to see through. And I call this one the hidden wasp, because if you look really close, there's actually one wasp that was in there that was dead. But also, it's kind of a two-faced bowl. If you don't shine any light on it, it's very dark, very kind of elegant looking. If you shine light through it, I constantly find new cool things that are stuck in there. There's something about the randomness of nature that I really enjoy. Every time I plan out a project that every little detail is known, I kind of come away disappointed, maybe because I can't execute anything really fancy, but when I just let Mother Nature show off her work, it's something to behold. So, not to get too religious on you, but for me, in my religion, this screams fingerprints of God all over the place. I'm one of those people that, I've gone through a lot of science training, medical school, pre-med, all that, and I don't have a problem merging sciences with God's work. I think they merge beautifully, and I think science is basically give us a tiny peek, little preview of what's to come as we learn more and more about what I believe to be our Creator's work. So enjoy. As always, this work will be donated to Operation Underground Railroad. You can find it listed at Art for O.U.R, where everything else is sold to raise money for Operation Underground Railroad. These are the guys that go around the world finding kids that are stuck in trafficking, sex trafficking situations. They do sting operations. They help the local police force bust up these rings, put these kids in a better aftercare situation if at all possible, and change their lives. I can't think of a better thing to support. So head on over to Art for O.U.R. That's ARTFOR OUR.OURG. I'm sorry, ORG. Make a donation, buy something that's been donated. We've got 70 different artists represented. If you're an artist, love to have a couple pieces of your work shown up, show off in our website. We're also now supporting several art and auction type shows throughout the year, and we're going through artwork pretty quickly, so if you donate something, it'll be put to use at some point. Anyway, have a great week. See you on the flip side.